He may no longer live under the same roof as his family, but Bruce Willis's presence is still felt in every room he's ever loved. Today, the diehard legend faces the toughest role of his life, one with no script, no retakes, and no guaranteed ending. His wife, Emma Heming, recently revealed a heartbreaking truth. Bruce has moved into what she calls a second home, where he now receives round-the-clock care. But how did the man once known for his charm, quick wit, and unstoppable energy reach this moment? And what does life really look like now for one of Hollywood's most beloved icons? For decades, Bruce Willis was larger than life, cracking jokes on set, playing action heroes on screen, and bringing the same magnetic warmth into his home. But Emma noticed the first changes in small, unsettling ways. Bruce used to love taking their daughters on school runs, filling the car with chatter, jokes, and laughter. Suddenly, those rides became fewer, and when Emma asked him why, there was no answer. At family gatherings, the man known for being the loudest voice in the room began slipping into the background. He grew quiet, detached, almost like he was fading from view. Emma admitted she even questioned their marriage at one point, wondering if Bruce had simply pulled away from her emotionally. But what she didn't know yet was that his silence wasn't distance. It was the first symptom of a condition that would forever change their lives. But silence wasn't the end. It was the beginning of an answer they never expected, the diagnosis that shattered everything. In 2022, Bruce announced his retirement from acting after doctors revealed he had aphasia, a condition that affects communication and language. At first, the family clung to hope that speech therapy and patience would help. But as the months passed, symptoms worsened. Eventually, the real diagnosis came: frontotemporal dementia. For Emma, it was like free-falling with no safety net. She remembers sitting in the doctor's office, hearing the words, and then hearing nothing else. Her world had just cracked open. And the hardest part? Explaining it to their two daughters, Mabel and Evelyn. Emma told them quickly, not to frighten them, but because she never wanted them to think their father was ignoring them or didn't care. Even with the diagnosis, Bruce wasn't gone. He was still here, just living in a new way, life in two homes. To protect both Bruce and their daughters, Emma made a decision she calls one of the hardest of her life, moving Bruce into a second home, not a cold institution, not a sterile facility, but a safe, nearby house designed around his care. There he has a dedicated team who watches over him 24 hours a day. But this isn't a story of separation, it's a story of adaptation. Every day, Bruce still sees his family. They share meals, laughter, and quiet moments. The second home is less about distance and more about creating balance. It gives Emma and the kids space to breathe, while giving Bruce the structure he needs. And inside those visits, something remarkable keeps happening. Glimmers of the man he was. Emma says the most powerful moments are the flashes of recognition that still come through. Sometimes, Bruce's whole face lights up when he sees his family. Sometimes, he lets out a hearty laugh that sounds exactly like the Bruce everyone remembers. And sometimes, there's that twinkle in his eye, the same mischievous spark that defined him on screen. For Emma, these brief moments feel like treasures. They're not the long conversations she wishes she could still have, but they're proof that Bruce is still in there, still feeling love, still giving it back in his own way. But living this day-to-day reality also pushed Emma toward a new purpose, turning grief into purpose. In 2025, Emma opened up in the documentary The Unexpected Journey and announced her upcoming memoir. The book isn't just about Bruce. It's about caregiving, resilience, and finding strength when life gives you no choice. She describes the raw, unfiltered truth, the tears in the morning, the constant balancing act of being a wife, mother, and caregiver all at once. But she also describes hope. Emma has become a voice for dementia awareness, using her platform to shine light on a disease too often hidden in silence. She urges families to talk, to prepare, to support one another. and she admits that she's still learning every single day. And through it all, one thing has never changed. Family that refuses to break. Despite the pain, Bruce's blended family has become closer than ever. His ex-wife, Demi Moore, his older daughters, and his younger girls all rally together. Birthdays, anniversaries, and simple Sundays are celebrated with the same love as before, maybe even more fiercely, knowing time is precious. Videos posted to Instagram show Bruce holding hands with his daughters, smiling during quiet moments, and surrounded by the people who adore him. These aren't staged images for the public. They're glimpses of a family refusing to let a disease steal what really matters. And in the end, maybe that's the real legacy. A presence beyond words. Bruce Willis may no longer deliver the one-liners that made him a legend. He may no longer step onto movie sets or lead action blockbusters. But his story didn't end when he left Hollywood. It transformed. Today, his life is proof that love doesn't need words, that presence can be louder than speech, and that family bonds can outlast even the sharpest battles. Emma says she would give anything to have one more real conversation with her husband, but until then, she holds on to the smiles, the laughter, and the unspoken connection they still share. And that leaves us with a question. In a world obsessed with words, do we really pay enough attention to what can be said without them?